Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Okay, I think I'm live. I think I'm online. And hi, everybody. Can you tell me if you can hear me and if you can see me? Fine. Hello, Bent. Hey, thanks. Thanks for letting me know that everything is okay. Thank you very much, happy girl. And hello to everybody in the chat right now. Bogdan, Kubarlov, Shannon, other names that it's hard for me to pronounce right now. Adamski, Yale's Flower, Eddie, Scott Adams, Charlie Kennedy. See some familiar faces. Paul Holmes, Slavik, I think. Thank you very much for being here. And today is something that actually I had in mind to do because we just had with Robert a show that we did on the Spanish channel with Victor in the Spanish world, and it was about the nature of Swaruus and who are they, because people get confused why there are so many, why we refer to them as Swaruunians, etc. And then also Robert did a mini series, additional series on that topic. So I knew I had to do this at some point, and actually today is a good day for that because I am still waiting to begin the artificial intelligence series. It's going to be a series of 4 videos, very cool, maybe live after that, some sort of summarizing live. Yes, I get confused too, says TLR123. Well, you will see, it's nothing to be confused about. I mean, it's confusing, it's complicated, but it's actually pretty simple once you understand it. And it's really cool too because it relates to us, how our souls work and operate as well. So it's not some sort of a distant story of someone else, but actually refers to ourselves as well. So anyway, yes, going back to the AI video. So I have this series, and I am still waiting for. Well, I think I received an audio from Claudia today, so I'll start editing tomorrow. And in the meantime, I didn't want to leave you totally alone there for so many days. So I thought, okay, this is a good moment to fit in this video right now and explain this Varu business, because I know there are a lot of new people actually coming in from different places here and there. So by the way, hello to every newcomer, every new subscriber out there, and hello to all the old ones, of course, as well, to all the regular friends. So this is what we are going to do today. Hello, JMV and Mick Flair, of course, and everybody else. I have a Bongo, my dog, here in the background running around and playing. So maybe at some point you'll hear some squeaking. Uh, I hope it's not going to bother you too much. Matthias is also here in the background helping with Bongo. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay. I might also be able to answer some questions. I think I'm not going to last that much explaining this, even though the topic itself is huge, but I'm going to try to summarize it. I'm going to leave some time for questions from the audience. I'm looking at the chat right now. And actually, to let you know, especially to the newcomers, there is already a video in 2 parts made. I don't know when I made it. I think maybe 8 months ago or so, when the detailed story of Swaruus and Svaru 10, Athena, and then Yashi is explained. Minerva is mentioned in that story again also. So please look up those videos on the website, svaru.org, and you can read the transcript. Detailed story, much more detailed than what I can explain to you here today. Is Dale around? People say hi, Dale. I wonder if Dale is around. Let me just rewind the chat very fast. Yeah, Dale Harder is there. Hello, everybody. Hello, GOSIA. Hi, Dale. Missing you here. I was actually thinking about you today, believe it or not. Maybe we can catch up again at some point. So that's the plan. So look up those videos. I'm going to have the link to those videos in the description box as well after this live. Cześć, Mysia Kofana. This is a Polish greeting. Cześć, meaning hello. By the way, if anybody is Polish, there is actually a Polish channel opened. It's going to be run by the lady who is called Anya. Okay. I gave you a link to that channel in the community in Telegram a few days ago. So it's going to be in Polish. It's just beginning, so there's just few videos now. But I hope it can grow. Oh yes, there she is. She's in the chat. Cosmic Agency PL. Cosmic Agency PL. If you see it in the chat, that's the Polish channel. Hello, Ania. Dzień dobry i dziękuję jeszcze raz za pomoc. I said thank you very much for your help again. Okay, well, Bongo is here. Maybe she will be sleeping. I'm rambling about other topics as I want the crowd to gather before I begin. But I think it's time to start as we have quite many people here looking. So the story of Varus. Okay, I'm going to make it a big summary. Okay, let's start with Swaruus, who was the first girl and the first extraterrestrial contact we had. Swaruus of Erra, also called Swaruunien. Nine. This is where the story begins. So that's where the story gets complicated. Why do we call her 9? What's up with this number? So I'm going to tell you very briefly why we call her Swaruunien and why Athena is Swaru10, etc. So let's go back to Swaruus 1. Swaruus 1, she's here. Swaruus 1 was born in Erra, and she never left Erra. She was born and she lived all her life in Erra. Now, long story short, she was very lonely because what happens in Taygeta among Taygetan women, sometimes, not all the time, is that when you are lonely, or when you feel the need something else than yourself, then you can actually give birth without a man. It's called parthenogenesis. It's not a very common phenomenon, so to speak, but it happens. So that's what happens. Swaruus 1, who never left Erra, had a daughter, because if you give birth this way, it's always a daughter, because it's always going to be a self-clone, so to speak, of yourself. Meaning that it's going to be your genetics is going to be, of course it's your genetics, but it's going to be exactly how you are. So that girl, Swaruus 2, was looking exactly like Swaruus 1. And not only that, they share the same consciousness, because consciousness can manage multiple bodies. Actually, it does. It's just here, especially in 3D, we are not aware of this in our reality, but consciousness does manage multiple bodies. We are just avatars for the greater soul that manages multiple levels and beings at the same time. So what happened was that Swaruus 2 was the same consciousness, the same being as Swaruus 1. It just that a full integration and equilibration between their consciousness doesn't happen right away. It happens a bit later in their life, when they are young children. So what happened, also long story, it was that Swaruus 1 died, and Swaruus 2, a daughter, was left alone at the age of 13. And now at this time, Swaruus 2, at the age of 13, decides to leave Erra and go exploring and learning. So she went to the city, because she was living in the forest at the lake before with her mother. She went to the academies. She went to learn, and she went to expand her knowledge and learning about things. And when she was old enough, young teenager, she enlisted at the Sand Clock Elite Squadron, and that is the pilots who are specializing in time traveling, basically. So this is when, after quite a few adventures and training and all that, I'm making it very short, very fast, she actually came to Earth. So Svaru 2, trained as a sand clock pilot, time traveler pilot, arrives to Earth, and she begins to jump to different points of Earth's history, uh, trying to trying to influence different events in Earth's history in order to move the human civilization toward a more favorable, positive direction. So she always appears as a step down. This is very important. She never incarnates as a human being. Whenever she does this, she she she's a step down. She's a full step down, and sometimes she ends up talking to the key people in a history, or influencing events here and there. And of course, uh, she she causes trouble, and she ends up. One second, because I have my note here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna actually read this because this is from the transcript I have. She appears in various points in history, always as herself, as a step down, always in nexus points, always in critical moments, becoming key people in Earth's history or causing key people to alter their actions in a way that affords a more positive long-term outcome. Becoming key people not as in entering their body, but as in appearing as herself to talk to the people of those points in history, which made her being remembered as another character or person in Earth's history. And what characters these are, that's going to be maybe for another video. So this, as is to be expected, many times caused difficult events not to go her way, and she ended up entering in conflict with many of these people in Earth's history, resulting in her death. So what happens is that Svaru dies in some tragic event. She dies. Now, and this is the key. This is the key. Listen carefully now. As Svaru dies around Earth or on Earth in those one of these events, because she's so attached to the idea of doing this right and winning and correcting maybe some mistakes that she did and making it right this time, what happens is that when she dies, she doesn't actually go to afterlife, because in the afterlife that's the place where you are enabled to kind of review your life and maybe say, okay, whatever, I'm ready for something else, for a new life, to be a new person. But actually, that was not the case with her. So when she dies, instead of becoming a new person and moving on, she actually jumps back right at the beginning, being Svaru 2 again, at the same place, being her daughter, her mother's daughter, in the same house at the lake, same circumstances, exactly everything the same. So she repeats same life as she had before. And that's who we refer to as Svaru 3. And she keeps repeating this up to 9 times. She keeps jumping back into the fetus again and again and again, to repeat her own life, and perhaps to correct what she did wrong and to prevent what she believed went wrong. Because each time she did that jump, she actually remembered her past life as herself in the same place, the same circumstances, because they remember their life much more easier, their past lives easier than we do here. So as Svaru dies, she jumps back again. We call her Svaru 3. She does this everything again. She enlists in the academy as a Sencloak pilot. She comes to Earth. She remembers what killed her, so she actually tries to prevent that, and she continues on to other events, because each variation of these lives was a bit different. Many events repeated. That's why she was able to prevent her deaths and some of these events. But many other circumstances are different. They are variations of the same life later on. So Svaru 3 dies again, gets killed or dies, always very young, always as a step down. And she dies and she comes back again. And that's who we call Svaru 4. And that happens all the way up to Svaru 9. Svaru 9. And Svaru 9, Svaru of Erra 9, is the one that we talk to. This one is called like, the ultimate Svaru in the sense that she remembered all these different events that all these Varus from 2 to 9 went through, plus her own ones. So she's like a node because of that. She manages to redo just about everything that she did during those 8 previous incarnations, avoiding the problems and many times avoiding what ended her life. But because of that, she carried a lot of charge, a lot of burden, a lot of very negative memories, and a lot of difficult experiences on her shoulder. So on her shoulders. So now, why this is important, before I go on into other Svarus, 10 and 11, and so on, and Yaski, why is this relevant to us? Well, this is very relevant to us because it actually shows us how souls incarnate, that it's not as easy as we think, that we're just going to die and we're going to become a new person and here and there. Very often it is actually possible to repeat the same life. Why? Because of the attachments that we have to that life or to whatever we wanted to accomplish in that life, guilt that we carry, all kinds of mistakes that we feel we committed and we want to repair. So it's, wait, am I frozen? No, my screen is not frozen. John Jarna is saying it's frozen. Okay, I think it's okay. No, I think it's okay, right? Yes, right there. Okay, it works. Hello, thank you very much. So, not to get distracted. So, it's very important to do this letting go of attachments work during your life. Unless you do want to repeat your life again, maybe you loved it and maybe you want to repeat something because you really want to, then it's your free will and you will if you really want to. That's the idea here. But if you want to make sure that you let go and then you move on and advance to something else, this is the time to do that shadow work and letting go of all these attachments and ideas to what you think must go right. Because that was the problem. That was the mistake, so to speak, even though I don't believe there are mistakes. It was experience for her soul. But let's call it that way. That the problem for her was, in her case, was that she had too much attachments to making it right. She just had to make it right. She didn't want to give in to the idea that, hey, she's conquered and defeated. So that's what made her go into that loop. This is the problem for our souls, that they may go into those loops. Loop is not always sequential. You may end up in loops. So let go of attachments. Keep revising your ideas that you carry in your own life. And guilt, let go of guilt. Like forgive yourself and for the things that you think didn't go right. Okay. That's very important, and this is what her life from 2 to 9, Svaru 2 to 9, this is what her life actually shows us and demonstrates us and illustrates. Because at the end, like I said a bit earlier, she ended up being very sad and very, very heavy. There were a lot of memories on her mind. There were a lot of negative and very sad and tragic experiences. Remembered all her deaths and all the tragic events, and she could never recharge in the afterlife. Yaski explained this to me later, that she never really went to the afterlife to fully recharge. It was just jumping right back into the same point in time. So when we met her, she was very determined and very passionate, but also she carried that sadness. Like I said, there was something deep within her that you could feel that she's carrying. And actually, to be honest, I connected with her on that level, because, as I always say, even though I feel I'm a happy person, there's some sort of strange burden inside of me there that I feel somewhere deep inside of me. So in that level, on that level, I felt connection with her. Like there's something something that I resonated with her for that reason. Let's see what's in the chat. So are you with me until this point? It's clear. Do you have any questions about Svaru 2 to 9? Maybe we should make a pause at this point before I continue, because Athena, Svaru 10, and Yaski, Minerva, that's a different story. And it's a different species already, as I will explain. Yes, Angelique says, I hate not having memories of my past lives and all the knowledge and wisdom of my past lives lived. Yes, many people have that desire to have their memories and have their life experiences from the past remembered. But as I learned here, interacting with Varus and Taigetans, remembering all your past lives is not always nice, because with that memory you're going to have, remembering and reliving of many sad and tragic events that probably happened in your past, and that's a burden to, so sometimes to, to forget, it's a part of the letting go process. Matthias, for example, always talks about he wants to desperately remember. And I also always thought I wanted to remember, but knowing, how many sad events that could also mean. Like Svaru, she just remembered too much. That was her burden. She just remembered too much. She could never rest. Her mind was just saturated and overloaded with everything she went through. So it can be just too much sometimes. So sometimes forgetting is like going on vacation. So I'm saying enjoy this moment right now of perhaps not remembering everything, because you don't know what you went through, and it may be difficult, and maybe a reason why you're not remembering right now. Maybe this is what your soul needs right now, to have a little a little break from what you went through. And I am sure that all the wisdom, perhaps not exact knowledge of everything, but the wisdom you still carry within you, because you have the same essence as what you were before. So that the wisdom is still within you. It shines through all these characteristics and qualities from your past life. They didn't just disappear. They are still what defines you. They are there. What is not there, like in my case, is not are not the details of stuff. That's something I would love to remember, because if I remembered all these, if all the information myself, if I remembered how life is in Taygeta and what's going on, if I remembered mathematics 12, then I could explain it myself. I wouldn't have to, like, be with the Taygetans and kind of rely on them to explain this to me. But I could explain to you myself. Oh, Bongo is here. She's interested in the plant. So anyway, any other question at this point? Svaru 2 to Svaru 9. Fabrice, why don't you tell us about the other Svaru, the one who isn't in Toleka and who is in contact with Svaru 10? Well, that's later. Wait. let's not spoil the story here. C. GOSIA, are there several timelines for each Svaru from 1 to 9, or all in one timeline? No, we are here talking about all in the same timeline, so to speak. They were just repeating the same life, the same timeline. But of course, there are other timelines when other Svarus are doing also their looping and their having their stories. Ryan, is Tina Svaru? Tina is Athena, yes, but I will explain her story next, how she relates to Svaru 9. Sama says, Gosha, this is off topic, but no off topic questions for now. Just let's keep it to Svaru 9. Okay, if I don't see the questions, I'll move on. Someone says, Bongo, lay down, good boy. But it's a girl, actually. Bongo is a girl. Okay, so let's continue our story. I don't see any specific questions, so I think it's clear. So Svaru 9, this is the one that we talked to. This is the one we met in 2017. And this is the one that was not present anymore, starting from 2020, I think. I get confused. So in 2020, this is when we meet Yaski. But before I explain the arrival of Yaski and then arrival of Athena and then Minerva, because they are not sequential here. Maybe first I will explain this. I'll explain in general the sequence: Svaru 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so Svaru 9 is the last Svaru that still keeps her attachment, strong attachment to the point of repeating her own life. Starting from Svaru 10, who is Athena, Tina, this is where her consciousness lets go. And she's not going back to being the same Svaru 2 again and repeating her whole life. She becomes a new person. So this starts from Svaru 10 to Yaski, Svaru 12. They are no longer in that loop. They are no longer in that loop. They get liberated from that loop. They don't repeat the same life. They get recharged. They don't carry the same burden anymore like Svaru 9. They are more free in that sense. But now, Svaru 10, Athena, the one who is in charge now of this communication. Okay, this is where I get confused. I mean, not that I get confused, I get confused explaining. Okay, let's go back to Svaru 9 in 2020 when she actually dies. Because, yes, and it's explained in that video, in 2020, Svaru 9 dies. It wasn't presented to us exactly as death, more as some sort of a transition. And this was when Yaski, Svaru 12, was already here, and she kind of facilitated her transition. She transcended and she integrated Svaru 9 into the field, and she passed on. So Svaru 9 here from this timeline finishes. She doesn't have any children, right? She just dies. But now, Athena, Svaru 10, is a daughter of Svaru 9 because they continue to self-create themselves, okay, but without looping already. Looping is gone. So Svaru 10, Athena, is a daughter of Svaru 9, but not of our Svaru 9. She arrived last year from another timeline, where Svaru 9 did not die and had a daughter. So in another timeline, Svaru 9 doesn't die. She finishes her involvement with Earth. She gets she gets liberated from all these attachments to Earth. She goes back to Erra and she has a daughter. And that daughter is Athena, Svaru 10. And she's not the one in the loop anymore. She's free of attachments. So she ends up here in our timeline. And now, in another timeline, Svaru 10, Athena, also has a daughter. And that daughter is Svaru 11, Minerva Svaru. So that Minerva Svaru, who was a daughter of Athena, also travels in time because they are all time travelers. That's where all this mess comes from, so to speak, because they jump and they like that and they just go all over the place. So that Minerva, who is Athena's daughter from another timeline, not our Athena, ends up here as well. So that's why here we have Minerva Svaru, who is Athena's daughter, but not our Athena, another Athena. And now, another Minerva from another timeline, Minerva Svaru 11, has a daughter, Yaski Svaru 12, but also from another timeline. So in other words, Athena, Minerva, and Yaski are all daughters of themselves, but not here in this timeline of themselves. They are all coming from different places. So Minerva is not a daughter of our Athena. And Yaski is not the daughter of our Minerva. They're all coming from different timelines, meeting here at this point, which I'll explain later. Why is it that all these Varus are here at this time? Okay, Hello says it's a big family affair. That's exactly right. That's what I wanted to say. These different Svarus belong to the Svaru line, and Svaru consciousness is the same consciousness and consciousness thread running through them, like a big soul group, but they could be viewed as simply family. They could be viewed as simply family because they are different people. They even look different. That's another point. Svaru 1 to 9, they were all the same Svaru. They looked the same because it was the same Svaru getting reborn again. So it was the same one physically. But from Svaru 10 to 12, you can still see the similarity in their look, like they are in the Svaru family, but they already look different. And why? Because, like I said, they already let go of the attachments. And with that also came the attachment to having the same physical corporal expression. So from the afterlife, from the etheric side, that's how they wanted to manifest as something different, to experience themselves in a bit different way, but still recognizable as Svaru line. They even have names here, because Svaru from 1 to 9 is Svaru of Erra. That's her name. But from 10 to 12, to indicate that they are already new people, they are given names. So it's Athena, Svaru, Minerva, Svaru, Sophia, because Yaski is only a nickname, Sophia, Svaru. And Svaru here, the name Svaru, the word Svaru becomes like a surname, like a family name. But they are separate people with different personalities. There is the same consciousness running through them, and important, same past memories, because all of these Svarus were Svaru 9 with all her memories. So what they have in common is the same past and same past memories, but they have branched off to become a different new person and personality. And this is another very interesting point to us. Why? Because here you can see that various people, different souls and different people can actually branch off coming from the same soul before, from the same person before. So this is what happened in this case. Svaru 9, same experiences, same memories, but actually it later branches off. Svaru 10, and then Svaru 11, the daughter, Svaru 12, other timelines, Svarus with her experiences, all of them having memories of having been Svaru 9 in the past. That's why it's not so crazy, actually, when you have multiple people claiming to be someone in the past. It's not just that that character belongs to one person. Actually, it is true that several people could have the same memory in the past because they have lived that. It's just that their soul branched off in their soul journey. And that's another very interesting point for us here to understand. Because I always understood, for example, if we hear someone claim to be Cleopatra in the past, okay, well, there's only one person that can claim that. Well, actually, not so, because there could be these branching off the souls with the same past memories, and also maybe there could be a future generation of that soul living at the same time, because it's not sequential, and they all have memories of being Cleopatra. So it's really nutty reality when you think about it. So what does Svaru mean? I don't remember what does Svaru mean, Jacob. That word, that name. I don't remember. I think it was told us at some point. We were given that information, but I don't remember. See, I don't remember. If I remembered, then some of these things I could explain better. So my point, going back to Svarus. So Svaru 10 from 11 to 12, which is, by the way, these numbers are just so you can understand the sequence of who is a daughter of who, even though not from this timeline. because they hate these numbers, by the way. They don't like being called Varu 10, 11, because it gives some sort of like a hierarchy impression. It's not that one is better than the other, not that one is more advanced than the other. Even though Varu 12, Yaski, she would claim that she integrates all of these Varus. She's like the, so to speak, most powerful one, the one that claims that integrates all the others within herself, even though Minerva disagrees, and they have discussions about this. And so what's the point? So where was I? I'm distracting myself looking at the chat. That's why I shouldn't do that. Okay, so Svaru 10 from 12, they don't like the numbers. It's not that one is better than the other, or more advanced. So that's why it's better to call them by their names: Athena, Minerva, and Yaski Svaru. And like I said, they could be explained as belonging to the same soul, oversoul, with the different personality and different experiences in their lives right now, but with the same past and the same memories of the past, of having had that life as Varu 9, even though it might be a bit distant for them already, but they do carry that in their memory. So now, why are Svarus not Taigetans anymore, from Athena to Yaski? Because what happened was that Svaru 9, who was Taigetan, born, raised in Taigeta, she started to let go of various ideas that define her as belonging to that specific race, because every specific race has its own cosmology, or philosophical, metaphysical ideas, and kind of that's what defines that society. So Svaru 9, towards the end of her life, before having Svaru 10, not our Svaru 9, because our Svaru 9 died. She started to have all these new ideas about things that went a little beyond what, let's call them, ordinary Taigetans would take on as their reality. So when that happens, when you expand your mind and you incorporate and integrate other ideas into your being, this also expands you and changes you on the genetic level, because your DNA reflects who you are becoming on the etheric side of you. So if you are expanding into something else on the etheric side, this is going to change you on a genetic level. And this is what happened. And Svaru 10 was already a different genetic expression of her soul. That's why, genetically speaking, philosophically speaking, metaphysically speaking, she could not be and is not viewed as Taigetan anymore, because she doesn't even have the same genetics, even though she came from the Taigetan line, and she still identifies with them, and she's there. Minerva, Athena, Yaski, they are with Taigetans on the ship. They are not officially their race anymore. That's why we call them Swaruunians, because of the ideas that they have are a bit more expanded, and also because of their genetic. Genetic always, like I said, reflects who you are and who you are becoming on the etheric side of yourself. So that's one reason why Swaruunians grew into another species, so to speak, even though they still look, how they look. They still look like other Taigetans. There's not much difference in that sense. They didn't like grow, another head or something weird like that. Anyway, so they became a new species, so to speak, because of the detachment of the ideas, expansion into new metaphysical realms, but also, and this is another important point, but also because Svaru 10 and Svaru 11 and Svaru 12 were born in deep space. Svaru 9, when she had her daughter, not our Svaru 9, because our died, another from another timeline, like I said, she had her daughter, Athena, in deep space. Deep space, not on the planet, not anywhere near Earth, not anywhere near Taygeta. And this helps, as they explain to us, helps break, expand into the state of consciousness where you are more free of the agreements, social agreements, because you are born far away from the dominant frequency that rules a specific civilization. So if she was even born near Taygeta, somehow unconsciously she would be born into that collective pattern of their agreements of what the reality is. But because she was born in deep space, Athena, and also Minerva, and also Yashi, they were born outside of these social agreements, in the place where all these agreements do not have any weight, so to speak, because it's a deep space, far away from any collective ideas and notions. Okay, one second. I'm going to try to come back to this question. Thank you very much, Angelique and Lou. I just don't want to lose my thought here for a second. So one reason that made Swaruunians different, it was that they were born in deep space. But now, on top of this, what makes Yashi, Sophia, Svaru 12, different was that not only was she born in deep space, but she was born in hyperspace, in the ether, because Athena and Minerva, they were doing experiments. They wanted to keep pushing the borders of spiritual expansion, and to break through what you are as a, so to speak, ordinary person, and and to try to become more, know more, understand more, have more power, spiritual power. So when Athena was born, she was born in deep space. Minerva was born in deep space. But now what Minerva did, another Minerva, with Yashi, was that she actually jumped with her ship to the hyperspace, to the ether, as she was giving birth to Yashi. And that additionally, as Yashi explains, helped her to develop her powers now that she has, like crossing the walls and teleportation, all that, because she was born in a location where those rules don't apply. So subconsciously it affected her development, because that's the place where there's no locality, no space. So in a way, that's why she always says, in a way, I am not really alive. You talk to me and I can appear as a physical being, but I'm not really alive as you understand a live person to be. Why? Because when she was born, she was in the ether. She was not really in the physical place. So it's not like she was really born into the material world. She was born into the etheric field. As she calls herself, she's a daughter of the ether. And that's what helps her to have these powers and to do what she does and to understand the reality in that way. Even though here, Minerva doesn't agree, because they have discussions sometimes. And Minerva says that it's not necessary to be born in the ether to display these powers as Yashi has and to have this understanding of things. And Yashi agrees, yes, it's not necessary, but it helps. It helps. Because one, you are far away from any planetary frequency, dominant frequency where there are rules and agreements collectively, unconsciously. So you are born in deep space away from that. And on top of that, you are born in the ether totally out of any material agreements and physical agreements. So unconsciously, you carry that into your life, even though, as she said, you still need to practice. You can lose that sort of if you don't continue practicing that mindset and being that in your life later on. So that's why Swaruunians are Swaruunians. They come from the same line of Svaruoferra, but along the way they let go of the attachments. They became free of those ideas, self-shaping identity of wanting to come back and whatever ideas, and they kept expanding their minds beyond even, no, as I would say, Taygetus are not ordinary, but let's say ordinary, normal status quo of the Taygetan perception of things, and they kept expanding. That changed their genetics, like I said, and also being born in the ether in hyperspace. So that's why we refer to them as Swaruunians. They don't identify anymore with Taygetans, so to speak, in that sense, but they are family, so still they are friends, of course. So that's it. That's a story here for now. Do you have any questions? Oh, by the way, yes, I had this point that when Yaski appeared, she was so different genetically on all these levels that the scientific team on board of Teleka Tegetanship, they started doing examinations on her, analysis, all kinds of analysis. And Minerva always laughs at Yaski and says she's a laboratory rat or something like that, and a laboratory bunny, or I don't remember the name exactly, because they study her. She's so different. They study her genetics. They study how she does what she does, her brain. She just doesn't fit into the normal Taygetan category of how people are supposed to be. So now let's go back to the question. Now I think I lost that question. Oh yeah, there's a question from Angelique. Can they choose when to slot into a body and slot out of it and end their life when they choose? Are you talking about Taygetans or about Swaruunians? Um, when? I don't know exactly. This is something, I mean, if you have strong attachments to ideas and to things in your own life right now, then that is going to propel your next incarnation to go back to repeat that. So in that sense, you are kind of you are choosing, yeah, but is it really a choice, or are you really kind of a slave of your own ideas at this point? So philosophical question here. Can they choose when to slot out of it? Taygetans, as far as I remember, they told us they can choose when to die, if that's what you mean by slotting out of the body. Yeah, they can choose when to die, and the death in that sense is not seen as something tragic. It's just that person kind of got tired of being that person and they want to move on to something else. Okay, let's go to other questions. So I don't know if it's still confusing for you, but that's a big summary actually of how Swaruunians are different from Taygetans. Okay, Katarina, was their consciousness born in a deep place? Do they then manifest their bodies every time they talk to you, for example? No, they are always in their physical bodies, especially, Yaski, she sometimes checks out, as she says, and she's traveling astrally, and she has those abilities to disappear suddenly and things like that. But they are always, I mean, I don't believe they don't manifest in their bodies just to talk to us. No, they are still physical. They eat, by the way, and they are very physical. But at Yaski says she is not really in the physical as we understand it. She in her words, she is in the physical because this is how we and the Taygetans need her to be in order to interact with her, because otherwise there will be no possibility of interaction. So she does it for us, but she doesn't need to be physical. Yeah, Norman, exactly. Taygetin's 12 strands and Swaruus 24 strands. I always get confused about the strands and all that, the DNA stuff, but that's exactly what happened. That's exactly, yeah, one of the differences in those strands. Um, a question from Jules77. Does Swaruus' attachment to the events on Earth go back to the Tiamat events? This is actually a good question. Something I don't think I ever asked if they were involved in Tiamat events. I know they were involved in the Egyptian times and all that after the Tiamat catastrophe. Um, but I don't know how much they were involved with the Tiamat explosion itself. I never asked that. A question from TLR123. Can they be walkings to humans to help achieve change? They don't do walkings specifically, but they can definitely be like some sort of inspiration, because I believe that what Yaski states is that, she is on that spiritual level. If you just go beyond, look at beyond her as a child, that she's some sort of a collective being that embraces a lot of souls, because soul is just not like this one entity here that is just defined, has limits, but it grows. I mean, it's on the other level is something more collective and more collective, all collective, until it reaches unity, the oneness, and on that level there's just one soul. So she on that higher level is a sort of a being that embraces and integrates a lot of souls. So in that sense, within herself, she can influence and she can inspire those souls that are part of her over soul. But I don't think she would do the walking. I'm trying to get the questions just about what I explained, the Svaru thing. I don't know, Ryan, how the Taigetan sounds. Um, when we spoke to them, like Dor Kalel or that physical person that we saw, no, we were just speaking English and Spanish. But we had some written Taigetan words on the screen. They were showing us some written words here and there. Oh yeah, Charlie Kennedy. Taigetans were no, but the question was about Swaruus, not Taigetans in general. Charlie Kennedy says Taigetans were involved in Tiamat. It's in your transcript. Yes, I don't remember exactly, but I don't know if Swaruus themselves, like Swaruus, as a race, I am pretty sure they were there present, as a lot of Federation races were present at that time. Okay, C says, I'm still confused about each reality that Svaru 2 from Svaru 9 have lived. If it is a single timeline, how could she go back and create a variant of the results? Don't take my words here 100%. I'm only trying to present this from my understanding. But okay, I said before that it's the same timeline, meaning that it's the same soul's line, so to speak. But with each life and each variant, sure, it is a sort of a different timeline. Um, as they explain to us, with each decision that we make, we kind of create a new timeline. And then from Yaski perspectives, there are no timelines at all. It's just one huge collective one, the way she sees that. So if you look at it from a different perspective, yes, each time she went back, it was sort of a different timeline, but it was still her with her full memories of what happened there. So in that sense, it was her own timeline. That's what I mean. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this right. Plus, remember, I am explaining this with my own understanding. I'm not them exactly, and for sure, I'm limited, in how I understand this myself. Katarina, I'm going to answer this very quickly because Can you prove that you're not talking to the AI program? Wait for the video tomorrow. Actually, we was going to start the artificial intelligence series, and that question is actually I am responding in the first video, in the first part. I'm explaining how I know that this is not AI. Svaru 9, someone says, had a daughter with biological Tigetan born on Earth. Not the ones that we know. She never had a daughter with a biological Tigetan man born on Earth. I don't know that. But everything is possible somewhere out there. Not ours, Varus. Not Svaru's 10's mother, for sure, either. By the way, okay, now I'm going to tell you a little surprise here, but don't freak out, okay? Don't freak out. The surprise actually is that, as I told you, Athena, Svaru 10, she was born of Svaru 9, different Svaru 9, from another timeline. And apparently, that Svaru 9 actually followed her daughter, our Athena, to here, to this timeline. Yes, she has been living in Taygeta, here in our timeline, communicating with Athena very often, and giving her all sorts of advice. And apparently, few weeks ago, she actually arrived visiting. She arrived to Toleka. So we never talked to her, but we know she's on board. Svaru 9, Athena's mother, but from another timeline. I know it's amazing. It's kind of a crazy reality, but that's how these things are. And what's also interesting about this that's Svaru 9 that never died had Athena. She also did what we are doing now. It's just that she didn't die there. She knows Robert and GOSIA and Matthias and even Bongo. Bongo is a boy, by the way, not a girl in that timeline. She knows us in her world. It's just that she left that world, so she doesn't know what's going on there anymore. Apparently, we were doing what we are doing now, but the world didn't end so well. So actually, in that timeline, as we were told, we stopped doing what we are doing, and at that time, Svaru 9 went back to Erra. She had a daughter, Athena, and now this Athena is here, and that Svaru 9 followed her to be closer to her daughter. She's also giving her some sort of advice because she kind of went through it already, even though in each timeline, each time it changes and it's a bit different. So she gives her advice, but she cannot know everything because this timeline is different. Hi, Emma. Thank you very much for asking about Aneka. I think she's recovering. We haven't talked to her for quite some time, for a few months. I know she's there and recovering because she didn't feel so well. Anyway, now the question is, GOSIA, I want to know if there's any Svaru incarnated on Earth but in different body. As I said, they never really incarnated as a human. Every time they were on Earth, it was as a step down. As a step down. So as far as I know, she would not be incarnated right now unless it's some other Svaru from still another reality. Who knows? There's just many Svarus, and not only many Svarus, it's many of you. That's another point here that I want to say. It's not that this is some kind of a Svaru story. Okay, this is not just her life. It's actually everybody's. We are all like that. We all have all different variants and variations and parallel universes, so to speak, where other versions of ourselves live their lives and make their decisions. And we're all connected, by the way. Some of their decisions actually filter down to us and affect us, and vice versa. So it's just that in their case, it's just that in their specific case, because of the use of technology by using the ship, the starship technology, they are able to do this. They are able to come and meet themselves from the future, from the past, different versions, because that's what they were trained to do. They were trained to alter time events, to jump to different points, and the result of that is that you meet with yourself or with your future self. But it's not something very common in Taygeta. I don't think that this is something actually super common. This doesn't happen very much. It's just this specific time traveling, group of people that does this. So my point was that yes, as far as I know, no other Swaruus is here incarnated on Earth. They were never here really incarnated. But who knows what other Swaru does from another place. Also, another point I want to mention. Sorry, maybe I'm not answering a lot of your questions. How many doubles of yourself can you have? Unlimited. Unlimited. So anyway, also the point I wanted to mention, because some people ask, why are there so many Swaruus here all the time? I mean, here right now, because we have Athena, we have Minerva, we have Sophia, and now we also have visiting Swaru 9, alternate Swaru 9. Well, I would say first this. How do you know this is actually many? How do you know how many of these Swaruus are actually coming together in other timelines? Maybe 50, maybe 30, maybe 8, 200. We don't know. So maybe 4 is actually not that many. We don't know that. And second of all, like I said, do not see them as one person. It's not that they are all accumulation of the same Swaruus in one place. Look at them more as a family, as an extension of the family, the same soul branching off in different directions, as it does anyway all the time with all of you too, branching off with the same past, but different people. So different people is the same family. Okay, Mick Flair has a question. Are there Swaruus aware of certain individuals here on Earth and communicating with them too? I still have the 26th battle one that I made for her a few years ago. Please give her my love. Yes, they are aware of certain individuals on Earth. I'm pretty sure of that. And not only her, but Tegetans as well. Do they communicate? Not through the chat. That's very clear. They just don't do that right now, and not the same way. And just for the record, it's not because some people say that it's not because we claim some sort of exclusivity of this. It's because they just don't want to. They don't want to talk to any more people, and the reason is because they are just exhausted, don't have time. It's basically just Athena now, and Yaski. Sometimes Aneka has withdrawn herself for now. So it's just that because there's no time, and for them, no energy. But they could be communicating in the astral or in some other way. I don't know. That is in the realms of possibilities. Okay. Like I said, Harris is asking, why do they all come to our timeline in particular? Like I said, we don't know what's going on in other timelines. Maybe in those other timelines, there are 10 Swaruus coming. Maybe actually what we have here is very few Swaruus comparing to what might be happening in some other places. So I don't have a specific explanation for that. And because I don't have a comparison, I don't know how many Swaruus are in other place. So I don't know if 4 is that's a lot or that's not a lot. And like I said, they do meet because that's what happens to them. That's what happens when you have this technology and you use it. You meet yourself and your other variants of yourself, because like I said, they are different people with different personalities. You can definitely feel there are different personalities. Victor, Yaski said that she's the original Sophia. Can you please expand on this? I really can't expand on this much because honestly, I don't fully grasp it yet myself. I've had bits and pieces of information or chats about this that I have like spread out in different places, but I haven't combined it all into like one presentable story. And so that's that. I don't have much on that. Is she considered to be an angel as we know it, if being born in hyperspace? I don't know. I don't know. Are angels born in hyperspace? Are they even born? I guess not, if they are not physical beings. I don't know. It's an interesting question, but I don't have the answer. Depends on your definition of the angel. Could you tell us some more about Athena's mother? What happened there? Why she left? I don't know much more because actually they didn't want to tell us much more because they said they don't want to condition us, because I started to bombard Athena actually with the questions. I said, what happened to us and how did the project end and what's going on? Even stupid questions like, is Matthias and me still together? Like, what's going on? And, but so I think they were seeing that we are asking these questions as sort of, asking for our own future. And that's not how it is. So they don't want to condition us because that's not or may not be our future. In this place, the things could turn out completely different. So they didn't tell us much more. It's just that the things didn't go so well in that timeline for the Earth in general, and we something with the economy. The economy was mentioned. That the economy went very bad, something like that. And then we had to finish. She returned to Erra and she let go of her need to help the Earth, and she finally settled down in Erra with her partner, and she had her daughter Athena, and and yes, what else are you saying there? Is Dale still Dale still there? Hello there. Yes, Fabrice, this Varunine has a very complicated past. And in a way, all Swaruus do. It's just that they were able to let go of that, recharge themselves, and kind of leave it in the past. Even though Yaski, as she claims, she's the one that integrates the most memory of all of them. She remembers all of that and very much a very detailed way. Um, Tayron, do they live for hundreds of years or do they just time travel? Well, one doesn't contradict the other. They can live for 100 years and they can time travel as well. All the Svarus that died, they died very young, before they turned 20. And um, Athena now is in the Earth's equivalence because that's a very general calculated guess. It's like around 19, and then Minerva is around 14, and Yaski is like 9-ish. However, you have to remember that her aging and her, developing is different time-wise. So don't calculate, for example, if 2 years ago we said she was 9, she's still 9. Well, because she actually, like I said, she doesn't follow the same uh, agreements, physical and aging and development. By her biology is different, so it's not going to fit exactly with our time idea. Why such short lifespans? No, it's not lifespans. They were just killed. They died in tragic events. Those Varus 2 to 9. They were just very heavily and intensely involved in some events on Earth and getting into conflicts, and they ended up being dead, killed. Most of the times. I remember actually that one of Swaruus, I think Svaru 4, actually she was not killed on Earth. She died on Erra climbing because her passion was to climb barehanded, climb big rocks, mountains, but with no equipment. So Svaru 9, Svaru 10, sorry, I'm confused. Svaru 4, she actually fell and she died that way. Paul Holmes, do Yaski have a birthday according to our astrology? No, they don't have those specific birth dates like we do. Whenever they say that's their birthday, it's because they kind of estimate that according to our Earth calculations, because they kind of adopted our birthdays. They don't have birthdays in Tegeta, but on the ship they actually liked this tradition and they use this as the opportunity to have a little party. So they have music and they dance and they eat, and it's someone's birthday, but it's like an estimate. Yes, Angelique, she was a risk taker practicing extreme living. That's right. She was living to the extreme in all senses. Even her hobbies were very extreme. Hello, Dale. I can see you're still there. Very nice to see you there. Frank Gill, something about Bongo. Hi, Gosha, is living in this timeline the boy who using the same soul than Bongo? Wait, I'm not sure I understand the question. Is living in this timeline the boy who using the same soul than Bongo? I'm not sure I understand. I think Frank Gill, I think you are from the Spanish audience, I think, I'm pretty sure. Maybe this is some sort of a translation issue. I don't know, but in that other timeline, the Bongo is a boy. And actually, this is very interesting. You know, like I always tell you that the information actually comes through from other timelines. Listen, when we actually got her, we were thinking actually to have a boy. Like there were 4 girls in the pack and 1 boy, and I wanted the boy. And we also came up with a name, Bongo. Bongo. Like we just knew that that's the name. We just knew that's the name of our dog. I didn't know how. It just like it came. There's also a story of that. Whatever. That's I'm not gonna tell that. But we just knew that's the name. And Bongo is a boy name. It's a boy name. But we just knew that's our dog. And then we ended up having a girl with a girl dog. But the name stayed. So I feel like I just knew from some other timeline that the name, that's the name of a dog, because in that place, Bongo is a boy. So it's very, very interesting. So anyway, this is another point for you. If you ever have this strange, like you just know something must happen or this way or that way, not just with names or whatever, and you don't know why, it might be coming from these other timelines where you are already living that as that. So that's how you know. Okay, how many are they today on Toleka? I don't remember now. It's 30 or between 30 and 30 and 32. I don't remember exactly. Between 30 and 32. Yes, Mick, learning and practicing letting go is such a huge task, but very achievable. Yes, and it should be done as in your lifetime, not after. In your lifetime, that's when you should start. Hi, Gosha, is the Earth flat? No, the Earth is like a potato. It's a geode in a toroidal wave. Anyway, Valerie, when the Tagetans die, do they reincarnate the way humans do? Yes, the process is the same. However, as you remember, here we are locked into this sort of a matrix of ideas and agreements that limit us in a way. So we would be reincarnating ourselves according to those specific ideas imposed on us during our lifetime here. So there they are more free and they are able to choose more freely where they want to go next. And here there are a lot of mental impositions, and our next incarnation very often reflects that. So that's why it's important to always to try to let go of these mental impositions during the lifetime as well, and keep reprogramming ourselves according to how we want to be. Desi, who is the second person from Earth on the Toleka? Yes, because there's actually one extracted person there on Toleka, except for Suriko. But we cannot say. We cannot say. We couldn't say. Gloria, did you hear if the second human on Toleka settled back on planet Erra yet? No. That person is still on Toleka. Actually, Dale, you are there. Do you know actually that some people thought it was you? So now you are here in the chat. You're proving that that's not you. Okay. Bongo questions. In what language do you give bongo commands? No, let's focus on Swaruus. Let's keep it more serious. Well, okay, whatever. Russian and Russian. Why do I say Russian? Polish and English and sometimes Spanish. Normally English. Could you do a video about the cooking? What the Tibetans cook? Yeah, maybe. So, did you understand the story of Swaruunians and Swaruunine and all that? Do you have any more questions about that? Is it more clear? Thank you very much. I do not consent. I don't see any specific questions to this Varu story, so I'm hoping that I explained well and it's clearer. If it's a difficult question for me to answer right away, then I have to skip it. I'm sorry. I don't have all the answers. Hello, Gosha. We know that the girls were born via parthenogenesis, the same. The same for original Svaru from... that's a good question. The same for the original Svaru from Erra? No. Original Svaru from Erra, Svaru 1, before she entered into loops. Yes, Svaru 1, she had a Svaru 2 via parthenogenesis, but herself was not born that way. She actually had a father and a mother. Yes, she had physical parents, Svaru 1, the one that never left Erra. Do they play baseball and basketball or football? I know they are into sports, but I don't know if they have specifically those sports. I know they have starship races. Thank you very much, Black Eyes. She's Black Eyes is saying that it was explained. RG60, I don't know if they are trying to help the... The last time we had a video about the Garthans, it was explained that actually it was like a difficult communication with them or something like that. Thank you very much, Sophia. K. Shatrani, just enter right now. I don't know what the subject is. Well, you need to rewind. Well, the subject is Swaruus and Swaruunians and how they are different from Tibetans and all the questions in that topic. Yes, it's a very good question too. Seventh thunder. Gosha, you said that if one of you feels something, the others of you feel it too. What if one of your versions found their soulmate out there? What a mess. Well, yeah, it can happen, definitely. I'm not saying that you can feel it all the time. Otherwise, you'll be always a mixture of feelings not coming from you and all these other yous living all these different things at the same time. So you'll be always in schizophrenic state of being. So I don't think that all the time you receive everything, every single detail. But maybe something is important. Like if another version of you found a soulmate, well, maybe that's when you feel that calling even more to find one yourself. Or maybe that's when you recognize that person even more once you finally find it, because your other version has already found that person, and that's how you know through your other version of yourself having found that person. I don't know if I explained that properly. Yes, let's see. Thank you very much, Monica. Do they have a technology to hear us when we speak to them? They do have technology, but whether they use it, it's probably not. For example, even the technology of little drones, they have a little drone technology where they can actually send a physical drone to the location mm, and hear and see what's going on. That drone has the capacity to see through the walls and through all that. It's a very small one. Anyway, so this way they could be monitoring the conversations. Actually, even I must tell you that they did that. I don't know if through the drone technology or how, but they did that even with us in the beginning. Because I was asking Aneka, did you do it with us? And she said, yeah, a few times in the beginning. And so, really? And she said, yeah, just to check out like what kind of people you are. So I don't know what they heard, and I hope that they were there in a good moment, because it could have been some more ugly moment. I don't know. I was arguing with Robert about something, because it happens. What's Dale? I don't see Dale's comments, and people are saying Dale, but I missed his comments. Farmer, who created these Varus? What do you mean? Who created? They themselves have created themselves. They create just the same force created this Varus as the one that created you. The people just are, and they just exist. They manifest. They are. No one created them. How do you communicate with this Varus? Email or remote viewing? Well, you might be a little new. I understand. That's why I said in the beginning, this video is for the new people. We communicate through the online interaction, online live chat, not emails, not Facebook, not WhatsApp, and not remote viewing. I don't have the ability, or at least not consciously, or I don't practice it, to remote view that much. Online communication, live. Oh, Dale. Lani, yes, there are flying sources to. Okay, he is responding to someone's question. Thank you very much, Dale, for your help. Michelle, are any of them on Earth? Again, are you asking about Taigetans or about Swaruunians? Are they in the human body enjoying Earth, or in their form? Sometimes they do come to Earth and they do enjoy Earth. Taigetans. Sometimes even Swaruunians at some point, but none of them are on Earth as we speak, as I know, as far as I know. Oh yeah, thank you very much, Quantum Dimension, for answering my question about live chat on the internet. Gloria, how do they know all about the universe? They don't know all about the universe. That's an important point here as well, is that they only give us what they know and how they understand things to be. And remember that this is what we give you in this information is basically what the Taigetans have discovered in their understanding of life. If you talk to other race, you will have a different information, different perspective, different cosmology, different ideas about how to run Earth, for example, run Earth, how to deal with the Earth's problem, different personalities. So they don't know all about the universe. They know a lot, but they don't know all. I don't think anybody knows all there is to know about the universe. Charlie Kennedy. Okay, about Dale. Yes. Uh-huh. What kind of music does Yaski love most? I know she likes all these Varus actually are very, very known for loving epic music. Like they really like instrumental, classical music, epic music. Um, but different types as well, as long as it's not something. I know they don't like some sort of a strong aggressive rap. I think that was mentioned a few times. Classical music they like, but not only, because classical music, that's very very typical of Taigeta too. Their music is kind of just in that direction. Yeah, the band. She likes French rock. Yeah, I remember there was a song in that genre once she shared. Yeah, they love movie soundtracks as well. Tayron. Very often they share with us actually some movie soundtracks, and very often they actually listen to that as they type with us. Very often, for example, we are chatting and they say, "Wait a second, I need to put some music on," and they are gone for a few moments and they listen to music as they speak to us. Do Swaruunians have pets? Yes, they have cats. They are huge cats lovers. Actually, a few weeks ago, there was a new wild cat because some of these cats are like pets, but others are sort of like more feral. And a lot of cats on the board. I think there are like 13. And one of these cats, more feral cats, had kittens. And those kittens were actually born in some sort of a engineering room very far away, a lot of tubes, and there was no access to get to those kittens. So the Targetans and Svarunians were very anxious to reach those cats. They didn't want them to die. And we talked about it for a while about different strategies how to get to those cats. These are like inner stories that you don't see in the videos. And they finally they couldn't get to them, and they finally decided, okay, we have to leave it to the mother. The mother cat will take care of these kittens, because as the Taigetans tried to get to the cats, the mother was getting angry, and she was actually moving the kittens farther away into the engineering deep place where no person could access. So anyway, after a month or a few weeks, finally the little kittens started coming out, and so it was seen that they survived. They survived, and they started coming out and moving around the ship. So that's the pets. I don't know. C has a question: how does Varus learn new languages? Do they learn any languages like Urmath language? You mean other races, ET races? I don't know. I never actually asked that question if they learned any other ET races languages. I guess the learning process would be half telepathic, half practice, talking to each other, etc. Do they work with the blue avians? I don't think so, because that's never mentioned, Karuster. I think it was mentioned that they exist, those blue avians, but I never heard them speak about them. Victor, do Swaruus women need assistance with childbirth? Um, as far as they told us, I think the birth is a bit easier for them, a little bit easier, because some part of the internal structure of the female anatomy is a bit larger, I think, from what I remember. So it's a bit easier, but it still hurts a lot. Actually, I remember that Swaruus remember that, and they always say that it hurts a lot. So it's not just something typical of human Earth women. It also hurts them. I guess they could apply some sort of a anesthetic um, sort of something treatment. I don't know. I never asked about that actually, if they ever apply anything like that to ease their pain. John Barna, are they listening to the chat? Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Depends on what they are doing. Not, like I said, they don't always have time. Thank you very much, Carlos. You are there, I think, from the Spanish world, right, Carlos? Okay, Janjalik has a question. Have the Svarus been on our artificial moon, and do they know who built the 3D holographic moon matrix imposed on us and suppressing us? How do we remove it or deactivate it? Well, this sort of part of this question was answered in some of our videos about the moon. Okay, let's go one by one here. Have the Svarus been on our artificial moon? I remember one time we had a conversation about the moon. Robert actually mentioned he wanted to go to the moon, and Aneka, I think, or Athena, I don't remember, said, "Why would you want to go there? There's nothing there. Like it's just like a junkyard. It's not interesting." And Robert was saying, "Well, as well, but that's for me, from my Earth perspective, that's still interesting." So I don't know if they were there physically. Do they know who built it? I mean, the moon was built by Andromedans. It's an Andromedan ship. but a 3D holographic moon. It's the moon is not holographic itself. It's just that it sends out a sort of a holographic projection around it, and we can only see the moon through that holographic projection. But it's not that it is a hologram itself. If I understood the question properly, we cannot deactivate it or remove it ourselves from here. No. When living on Taygeta, do the Taygetans experience the veil between the conscious and the subconscious mind? Some of that veil, yes, they do remember, because basically what's in your subconscious mind, that's memories, that's your things that you have lived that you don't remember, that you don't have the access to, and they have good memory when it comes to their past lives. Some of them better memory than others. So the veil is thinner for sure for them. However, they don't remember everything either. And beyond 3 past lives, that becomes even more blurry to them. But it also depends on your own, on your own soul ideas, and only your own soul will determine how much you will remember. Like, for example, Anneka doesn't remember much or at all or much of her past lives. What else is there? Mick, which of our friends travels in the Suzy craft? I forgot. Well, all the Varus, also Dor Kalel. That's their personal craft, Suzy. Also, something I forgot to mention. Even though the sequence of who gave birth to whom is Athena, Minerva, Yaschi, this is not the sequence in which they appeared here, because first actually here came Yaschi. Yaschi was first who arrived in 2019, and then a year ago appeared Svaruten, Athena, who actually revealed to us later that she appeared here because she was following Yaschi through her journeys. And then appeared Minerva, Svaru 11. So they appeared in a different order in how they are actually, how they are in the sequence. And Minerva also appeared here because of a certain event, sort of situation that she was involved in, and that involvement made her appear in our timeline here. Does Yaschi like poetry? I don't know. I don't know. She might. She does sound to me like a person that might be into it. Okay. Okay. Harris Zark. If Yaschi is something different and one of a kind, what are the rest of the Tagetans? What do they think of her as a phenomenon? Yes, they do think of her as a phenomenon, so to speak. Like I said, they study her, they analyze her. The scientific team does all sorts of observations around her, and I must say that some Taigetans are interested and curious, but others maybe not so much. And actually, some of them are afraid of her a little bit, or she's intimidating to them because she has, like I said, these abilities that are beyond their understanding, even though, of course, they understand that there is always more to learn in life. However, as we talked about this a few times actually with them, some of the Tagetans, they have achieved this status, so to speak, among themselves of knowing so much that maybe somewhere along the road they are forgetting that there is a little bit more to learn about the reality, and that's when Yaschi comes in as a sort of a starseed for themselves, for their own race, and trying to make them question more reality, and trying to show that there is still more. But some of them are a bit afraid of that, or maybe even irritated because she's still a kid in a way. So she uses some of these abilities in a funny to her way, um, making jokes and making these pranks and things like that. Even though recently she has calmed down in that sense because she doesn't want to bother them anymore. Because some of them were bothered, to be honest. um, so they are curious. They love her very much, but they are also a little intimidated. Hello, Ethan Richardson, who is new to the chat. Well, we've been here for an hour and a half already. Time goes fast. Do they have hobbies, the Swaruunians? Well, each of them has a bit different hobby because they're all different people. I know that it depends on the age too. For example, Minerva, who is around 14, she likes video games actually. To be honest, they like video games, having all these super advanced immersion games on board because they are bored with those games. It's like you go in there and you have to live that reality, like literally intensely. So they are into very simple video games where you can just sit and use joysticks or something, and that's like new and exotic to them. So Minerva is in that stage. She likes those, and she likes designing worlds in those games. And then I know that, well, Athena is very much into her ships, into piloting, and she's a pilot, so she loves flying and all that has to do with planes and starships technology. And yes, I said planes for a reason, because they are very interested in our planes as well. And Hashmalim's team, for example, they like looking at our planes technology, and even old technology, retro technology. They love all that's our retro stuff. It's like super curious to them. So that's one of her hobbies. And she's also into miniature things. I don't remember exactly what she designs, Athena, but into some sort of a miniature stuff. And yes, she likes, even she likes playing with dolls and designing the worlds and sets and all that. But she likes all kinds of things. I think her favorite thing ever is just disappearing into the astral and living her life there, even though according to her everything is astral and there's no difference between the material and non-material world. Anyway, Marco, who is Svaru Papri Ananda? Is Svaru 9? No, that's Svaru. Well, remember, Svaru 9 is all of the previous Svarus from 2 to 9, repeating the life. So Svaru Ananda is Svaru 1. Svaru Papri Ananda is Svaru 2 to 9, because it's the same one, repeating the loop. Chris Jones, I'm new to the channel and I absolutely love it. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. I always advise new people, maybe look at the videos from the beginning, or maybe not so from the beginning, because the information also has been evolving since the beginning. You can also look at the different playlists. We have videos according to the playlist, whatever subject interests you. No, Francine, any plans to expand on the new videos that introduce other crew members, since there are 30 on board? Most of them are the same as before, so there wouldn't be any changes here. Yes, Eva Carolina, Minerva is also very expanded. Yes, she is. She's very etheric and very spiritual. I don't know why I did that. Some sort of doesn't mean that the person is spiritual. Okay. Questions about Swaruus and the topic today. Let's not distract too much with other things. If not, I'm gonna go, because I've been here for a while. I don't know if I see. Oh, okay, Angelique, do they have a set period of service time in orbit to their Earth mission? No, whatever they want. There's no any specific period they have to be here. Nothing is imposed. Everybody's here because they want to be, and they decide themselves how long they want to be here. Yes, Brad, I have been watching many of the older videos. Yes, some of the older videos, all of them actually. Yeah, are very good as well. Yes, Dale Harder, no set time. Basak, did anyone ask if they can only reproduce by cloning? Is there a male Svaru? Yes, the Svaru of Erra, who was from 1 to 9, they can reproduce with a man because they are still Taigetan. They are still Taigetan, still Taigetan genetics, so she can reproduce with a man, Taigetan man. But from Svaru 10 and Svaru 12, they can't anymore because it's not compatible with the Taigetan men. However, like I said, we don't know any male Svaru or any man she was with whom she had a child. Do they have menstruation? Swaruunians, do they have menstruation? I think they do. Wait a second, Swaruunians, because that's different than Taigetan Svaru. I think so. I don't remember though. If I ask that questions, I know that the Taigetan women do, and they can control it different. We can't control it here almost at all, but there they can control it more than we can here. Like for example, Aneka, I know she could control it. And from what I remember, actually, Svaru 9 couldn't. For some reason, she could control other things, but Svaru 9 couldn't control her menstruation, and she was always complaining about it as well. So it was nothing nice. John Barna, can Athena come to extract me? Probably not. Łukasz, pozdrowienia dla wszystkich z Polski. Black Eyes, how do Swaruunians from other timelines keep with their friends and family of their other timelines, telepathically and with technology? Good question. I don't know if they do. If they do, then yeah, probably both. They could go to those timelines easily. It's not that difficult for them. I actually even once asked Athena when I found out that there are these other Goshas and Roberts and Bongo. I was asking Athena, hey, do you think it could be possible, like in theory, to visit those other Gosha and Roberts and Matthiases and Bongo? That would be so cool. And she says, yeah, that's super easy to the point of, it's boring, that easy. But there could be ethical implications and all, everything around it. So it will have to be discussed. But technologically, it's easy. What or where will their home planet be? Swaruunians? Swaruunians have no home planet actually because they were not born on any planet, and they actually spend most of their lives around or on Earth. Yes, I say on Earth because at other points of their life, before coming here, they actually were spending time physically on Earth, like I said, as step downs in different points of history. So in a way, they are very attached to Earth, even more than Erra or Taygeta. So no home planets. That's why they are also considered by Federation as non-Taygetans, and that's why they cannot be controlled. Rules cannot be controlled or imposed by the Federation upon Swaruunians because they're not Taygetans. They are from no land. They are free. Nobody, somebody. I don't know. Sounds funny. Chris Jones, how were you first contacted? I'm not going to tell this story now because most of the people already know this. You just have to go to the beginning of the playlist. I think video number 3 in the playlist explains how this contact began. Harris Zark, with all these different timelines they came from, how are they not confused in their lives? Like what happened or not happened? Yes, that's why this ability to travel and travel through timelines is not for everybody. It's for strong-minded, and you have to be mentally prepared for that to deal with whatever consequences and your confusion and all that. And that's actually what changed. That's another point I didn't mention. That's what actually triggered. Was another point that triggered the birth of the Swaruunian race, because They were jumping and jumping and jumping so much and expanding and integrating all these other versions of themselves into themselves and genetically also changing. That's what triggered them becoming a new race. Those constant jumping also added to that because it changes you, and whatever changes you changes your genetics. That's how the new species evolve. Whatever happens in your life, experiences affects you, changes you, and that reflects in your genes. So no, they don't seem very confused, but I think they are very used to it. Okay, maybe we should be finishing very soon. What do you think? Yes, that's right. Dale Harder. Maybe the question was about the home planet for Andromedans, because here he's answering Andromedans are very comfortable living in a large biosphere. They do not really need a planet. Yes, Andromedans do not need a planet. Bungie, what do you want? Hi, Bungie wants to say something. Bungie, what? What do you want to say? What? Bungie, what? Hello? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Are you going to say something? Hello? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you want to do? Okay. You don't want to say anything, well then don't disturb. I thought you wanted to say something to the people. All right. Well, I hope it's clear to you now. And Brad says, hi, Bongo, by the way. Bongo, did you hear that? Question to Bongo. Whoop, 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 whoop. Bongo is getting big. Yes. Yes. Oh, good question. Is he also a beagle in that other timeline? I don't know. I didn't ask. I assumed. I assume he's a beagle. Happy girl. I could listen to you speak about this information all day. Yeah. It's yes. Thank you. It's very interesting for sure. I just feel like I am speaking too much, and you have your day and you have things to do. So I don't want to take too much of your time. What?
What do you want her? Jump there?
No. I don't want. I was already showing her.
Oh.
She has her snacks here. What? What snacks do you want? Which one? Choose. Which one? This one or this one? Oh, that one? Okay. No better things to do, says Ura. Well, any other last confusions that you have? Like, what are you confused about? How can we enroll ourselves for Swaruunian? I think this is something that defines not only Swaruunians, but everybody. And this is how our souls grow and evolve. So, yeah, I wanted to say I would like to enroll as a Swaruunian too, but it just happens naturally. When they died, okay. Starlight, Svaru 1 to 9, when they died, remember, not Svaru 1 to 9, Svaru 2 to 9, because Svaru 1 died on Era. When they died, did they go back to that first birth, or like if she was born in 2000 and died in 2010, did she go back and be reborn in 2000, or is the new one born? No, she was going back to the same exact point in time. Exactly everything the same. So if you die in 2010, you go back to 2000. Yes, that's how she went back to the same circumstances, same place, same little house by the lake, and the same time, from what I understand. Because she was repeating exactly the same things. When do the AI videos are coming? I'm hoping to start tomorrow. If I have audio from Claudia, I think I do, but I have to review it. Alan, I'm confused about Athena and how Taigetans view her. I think they view her the same way as they view the whole Swaruunian line. They are very curious about that line. They respect them, but also, in full honesty, they sometimes are a bit tired of the situations around Swaruus, because Swaruus are for them a bit complicated. So this doesn't happen in normal Tibetan life. You don't have all these versions interacting with you and other future selves. Their lives, in that sense, are more simple. So sometimes, from what we know, they get a bit tired of all the implications around Swaruus, and another Swaru appearing from another timeline, and what's going to happen now, and why is she here, and all that. So it takes a lot of adaptation and adjustment on their psychological part. Sometimes uh, some of them take it very easily, and some of them need to adjust a bit more, because you have to understand they are very tired there already on that ship. It's very difficult to be there. They have a lot of things to do. They are tired. They are in that steel can in space. They get all sorts of attacks. They deal with a lot of things on all fronts, and they cannot even go anywhere. Like, they are stuck there in that technological world where everything is artificial and technological, and it's tiring. And then all these Varus appear, and it brings complications. Sometimes it brings metaphysical complications, a lot of events happening around that. So sometimes they get tired of that. All right, what else? I always say I have to go, but then I'm staying more. Dale Harder, I hope you don't mind me helping with questions. Of course I don't. Thank you very much. Oh, Naughty Beaver is here. Hello, haven't seen you for a while. Oh, I have the power of time travel, you say. Okay, yes, that's super cool. I don't have the power of time travel as far as I know. Oh, you say I can rewind the video. I think that was a joke, I guess. Or maybe not. Okay, let's see what other specific questions about Svaro do we have. Yes, they have other pets than cats, Russies. They have fish. They have some other animals that we don't have here on Earth. And yeah, cats mainly, but not only. Does Varus recommend any books? I know they always talk about Alfredo Freixedo, and that's in Spanish. I don't know if he has English translations. He's talking about ET contact communication as well. Salvador Freixedo. And as you noticed, Svaros always talk about Jung, even though there are some things they don't agree with, but they read those books as well. Do they play sports? They are very athletic. Yes, especially Athena. She likes to be fit, and she does all sorts of exercises. All of them, but very always into fitness, and they care about their physical well-being. Can you add transcript links to your Telegram posts and under videos, please? That sounds like another task maybe I would need to be involved in. I don't have much time. Well, the transcripts are just on the website if you log in. Actually, we're going to add a feature to the website where you can subscribe, and you will receive any new transcripts. But yeah, I see what you mean, because if you are looking at the video from 1 year ago, and then you have to go and look for that video on the website. On the website for that transcript, it may take time for you to find it. So it would be helpful to have transcript links directly under the video. That's cool. I get your point. However, it sounds like it's like a task to do. Maybe I'll add that to the list of my tasks at some point. Question from Naughty Beaver: are your ears ringing all the time, Gosha? No, they are not ringing, but my ears get stuck, like plugged each morning. When I wake up, they are like, when you are on the plane for a long time, pressure or something. They are not ringing.
Mentioned that table of contents you can actually find very easy.
Yeah, Matthias is saying that if you go to the website, to the transcripts, you don't have to actually go to that big video list, but there is also a table of contents, and you can go through the video faster this way, and you can find the transcripts faster. Going back to their ear ringing, no, my ears do not ring. Or maybe they do, and I'm just so used to it that I don't hear it anymore. I feel like it's blended with reality. I don't know. Oh, okay. Mick Flair is part of their ear ringing that we perceive are downloads being given to us. Interesting. Well, then I get nothing because my ears don't ring, as far as I know. Do your ears ring, Matthias?
No.
No? Okay. People are saying their ears ring. Did Svaru 9 leave and transcended her comebacks? Yes, she did. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. She did. She leave. She transcended her loop. Does Svaru still teleport? How any of the other Svarus learned how to yet? No, as far as I know, only Yasuhi can teleport. And Minerva and Athena do not teleport. C. Will you open the subtitle option for your videos so the translators could add their languages directly to your videos? I don't know how to do that. I always subtitle. I don't know. People sometimes ask me about that, but I don't see that option at all in my studio, in my back studio. I don't see that option. Urros, Srna, when will we continue the math class? I don't have any more information on the math, unfortunately. So as long as if they don't give us more, then there's going to be no more. I gave you all I had, I think, in that area. Can the Taigetans communicate with us through the dream state? Sometimes, yes, but they don't do it consciously, as far as I know. But anything is possible in a dream state. Does Varu have a solution for ear ringing? I don't know. I haven't asked her that. I would have to do that. No, anyway, yeah, I was going to answer the question, but no, Dale Harder. I don't have that option. Choose subs and the different languages. I tried so many times, it just doesn't appear. I'm going to look again, but I don't see that option. Choose subs and languages. Yeah. Rohan, in 5D, are there people in any race developing towards becoming a new race like the Swaruus? Are the Swaruus rare in that regard? I'm pretty sure that happens because that's how the new races come to be, and that's how new species come to be. So it's not some kind of a new phenomenon. It's how the universe works. But I don't know of any specifics in this area. Okay. I have to go because I don't see any specific questions about Swaruus. I see you're asking about other things. So I think it's pretty clear. We have been here for 2 hours almost. So I'm going to say goodbye. Bongo's very busy there with her toy. Matthias says hello too. Bye, hello.
Bye.
And I'm going to try to make the video on the artificial intelligence tomorrow or Sunday and get it out. And in the first part, in the first video, the first part, I am talking. It's okay, so don't be disappointed. It's just me talking. I am talking in the first part, and the second part is from them. I'm also explaining why I think, and I know that this is not artificial intelligence. So thank you very much. Thank you, Happy Girl. Thank you, Eva Carolina, and all the moderators, and not only moderators, but everybody who's helping, responding, and being nice. Thank you very much. And until the next time, a lot of hugs. Bye, Dale, and everybody else. Have a good night, have a good day, have a good afternoon, or have a good morning. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.